Moving on, Pakistan, which has failed miserably at subverting peace in India's Jammu and Kashmir, is now trying to hit the nation from different corners. To support and finance its nefarious activities, it is trying to push in drugs to facilitate terrorism in India. In a recent development, Indian security forces busted a huge narcotics terror module at the Rajasthan Pakistan border. Our report. Unable to disrupt peace in India through its nefarious designs of sending terrorists and weapons, Pakistan has now resorted to narco-terrorism. Recently, Indian security forces seized at least 56 kg of heroin, the largest ever amount recovered along the India-Pakistan border in Rajasthan, after foiling a narcotics smuggling attempt by Pakistani operatives. Previously, in March 2021, the Indian security forces in Rajasthan foiled two infiltration attempts at the Indo-Pak international border in Bikaner, killing two Pakistani intruders. Security forces seized 247.54 kilograms of heroin in the first 5 months of this year. With the most recent seizure of 56 kilograms, the recovery has surpassed 300 kilograms.
इन्फॉर्मेशन थी, हमारी इंटेलिजेंस ब्रांच जो थी वो एक्टिव थी और 10-15 दिन से वो जो है इस मौके का तलाश में थी कि ये लोग कब ऐसी कोई हरकत करें और उनको हम पकड़ें। हमें जो है इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली कि साहब इस एरिया से जो है ये क्रॉसिंग हो सकती है, बट जिस जगह पे हम लोग वेट कर रहे थे वहाँ ना करके दूसरे जगह पे इन लोगों ने अटैम्प्ट लिया और पाकिस्तान से जो है जो हमें खबर लगी कि साहब एक गाड़ी भी 1 बजे करीब जो है जीरो लाइन पे गई थी।
To keep the terror machine running, Pakistan has been using narcotics as a major financing tool. While it has been pushing trained terrorists into Indian territory and also deadly arms and ammunition besides fake currency, narcotics are being pumped into Indian territory to reach Indian markets like Punjab, Delhi, Mumbai to generate money for terror operations and recruitment. It has emerged as a profitable venture for terrorist organizations who have suffered in the recent past due to freezing of their bank accounts and dismantling of Hawala money laundering networks.
When you want to keep things off the books, the sources of income, of course, you can transfer formal money to terrorist accounts, but then that creates a linkage. And the whole point of it is you want your hands to at least seem clean when an audit is done. And that is why drugs as a source of terror funding start off very early. And they also found that transporting drugs as a mode of payment was a lot easier than actually transporting cash. Because when you transport cash, it raises a lot of questions when it goes cross-border. Whereas when you transport drugs, you can it's seen as relatively benign, and you can actually co-opt border guards and checks and balances through bribery, usually in kind.
Pakistan-based narco-terrorist networks have stepped up their activities on the Indo-Pakistan international border and are making incessant attempts to push intruders, arms, ammunition and drugs into India. Narcotics are generally trafficked into India through the border states of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir. Even the COVID-19 pandemic did not deter drug smuggling from Pakistan. Jammu and Kashmir police recovered 36.08 kgs of pure heroin, 240.7 kgs of hash and 49.7 kgs of brown sugar from different parts of Kashmir Valley in 2020 alone. Meanwhile, Indian Border Security Force BSF last year made a record 517 kg hauls of heroin, which is the highest seizure in past 5 years in Punjab. Several news reports have revealed that ISI is using many pro-Khalistan militants based in Pakistan for smuggling drugs in India to fuel terror activities in Punjab while destroying the youth with drug addiction.
This policy, Punjab today has one of the highest drug addiction rates, and this is almost a direct consequence of what happened after the Khalistan movement. So this has been a part of their strategy almost since the strategy itself, the terrorism strategy itself started. Narco-terrorism seems to have always gone hand in hand with terrorism, period.
Use of narcotics for terror funding by Pakistan's ISI is being seen as a trick to avoid being traced back. But to its much disappointment and humiliation, even the narco-terror network of Islamabad stands exposed now, as the Indian security forces have upped their arms against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism at all fronts.